Hey guys, welcome back to section 1, part 5 of the Trending Traders Trader course. We are going to go a little bit more in depth into the blocks that I was describing in the last video. This is going to be my final video in regards to market structure. So right now we are going to start on the 2-minute chart, and we are going to start kind of dissecting how to actually spot these demand blocks, or these it's more so a way to look at the market, right? In terms of more so like square blocks that need to be validated and broken through, as opposed to just candles that have no real consistency. They look a little bit more random. We want to create a system that is easily identifiable, and we are going to do that by using blocks. So we're going to we're going to go down the iPad here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to find, in this case, a low point, right? We're going to see we have a high here and we have a low here. So we're going to use this area here, right, where price does some type of little breakdown, right, gets below these wicks, and then has a stronger push up, right? Don't do that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use the blocks here. So what we want is we want to look for a type of move that's some type of an up move in this case, because we are going to be drawing a block that's from bearish to bullish, right? So we want an up move that puts in the overall move that creates the demand, okay? So in this case, we are going to use this high here, right? Because this is the up move that ultimately puts in this down move where sellers start to sell off, right? Which then turns around and creates a valid area of demand, right? If we were to draw this in, this is our block, right? So we want to go from this up move here. Now, what would be, so right now we're starting to think, okay, potentially the market is going bullish. We have a nice strong push up that breaks through this top, right? But we're actually still within this overall, because remember, markets are fractal. We're still within this overall area, which is also going to be a demand block, simply of a higher time frame, because markets are fractal, right? So we're looking at interior market structure, right? That is ultimately going to create the building blocks to send price through more of a macro style block or demand zone area, right? So we have that. Now, what would be our next area for another bullish block to be put in? Well, this is the up move, right? You can see we have our up move. Now, sellers start to sell, pushing price down. We return back into our area of interest. This is our demand block. Price reaccumulates, comes back, and what can we assume? Well, we assume that price is going to target this high, which ultimately, as you can see, we get a break, not these wicks, but right here. This is where price breaks out. So everything that's in between here, this is all creating liquidity. So this is all interior liquidity, right? But our assumption is always the same. We have a bullish movement putting in a demand, a return into our demand. Well, at this point, we start thinking bullish, right? Now, once again, we are looking at the micro, but we also have to pay attention to the macro, because these markets are fractal. Right? So we have a move up, right? Bit of a sell-off, move back down. This is also a fractal block, right? Because we have a move up, a move down, sell off within a larger area. Again, move up, we get a break, right? This isn't exactly where we break through, but we break through here, right? So now we have validated this entire area, but we know using our internal market structure, right, or our micro market structure, right, that's simply just doing the same thing, giving us a sense of direction by showing us A, volume, B, structure, and C, giving us a direction, right? So we do ultimately get a rejection here, which is nice, because this area here would be what for us? Yeah, so this would be the overall validation of this macro block. But right now, we are more focused on learning exactly how we can spot these blocks. So let's go back to our area of interest here. We now get a move down. Oh, we're not going to use that. We now get a move up, validating our zone of interest. And then we get a breakdown, where we break through this area, leaving behind a supply zone. Price comes down. So here's the move down that puts in the move up that eventually sells off, right? So this is what leaves our area of supply, where eventually price actually does come and tap into, giving us a nice bearish rejection. But for now, we're going to focus back on spotting our blocks. So again, move down, move up, buyers come in, move down. We have a beginning of structure forming. We have a internal break here, right? So exactly as we see over here, right? Prices selling off, prices selling off. Then we get some type of break of structure, break of structure. Price pulls back into this validated area, right? Does not continue its downtrend. This puts in a secondary break, right? So now we have two demand breaks, right? And price continues to go bullish, eventually coming up, tapping into our zone here, which is our supply zone, which ultimately leads to a large down move in the market, right? So let's spot these blocks again. We have our up move. Oh, I keep doing that. We have our up move here. So boom, boom. Puts in our down move, right? We have a break here. We now have a supply zone that's been created. Another up move, so buyers come back with a sell-off. So we have a secondary break. Price pushes down, comes back up, leaving us with a break to the top side. Actually, we would probably be more. This is our up move that puts in our down move. So yeah, this is now a bullish validation, right? So at this point, if you were to assume that price wants to actually create a secondary demand block here, right? If price wanted to do something like that, that is totally valid. That's totally valid. You can definitely look for that. But that's not what we receive in this scenario. We then have a break up. So here's our up move that breaks our down move, leaving us this. And price does not return to mitigate our supply zone. I have mentioned multiple times now, price does not need to mitigate supply zones. Price can just break through and continue going. Eventually, this zone, because these are orders that are being entered into the market, eventually this zone will be tapped into. I don't know when. It will happen eventually. Excuse me. Right. So we now have a bearish break here, leaving behind a high demand area here as well, more of a macro. And this is all within a higher time frame push up that most likely now looks like, with these breaks, this being a new area of interest, right? Price is most likely going to break through further to the downside here. Yeah, I hope this is I hope that this was a helpful video for you guys. I know that these sketches and drawings aren't exactly the best, but I am teaching you guys how to do this for free. So, I don't know exactly what you guys are expecting, but this is how I look at the market. I look at the market in terms of blocks. It's demand and supply that's been entered into the market. And you just have to understand that these blocks can be used to help you figure out a direction. They do not need to hold. Ultimately, volume can come into the market like this, right? And generally what you're going to see is, when you see a market that looks like this, I'm going to go to a little bit of a higher time frame here so you can see it a little bit clearer. Trends always, well, not always, but trends typically like to continue, right? So we see a series of blocks being broken here, 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 right? We have a bullish block here. This is our primary block here. But we have seen a ton of downwards momentum come into our market. And if we remember, if we look at higher time frames, right, this is the beginning of some type of a downwards move, right? This being the very first pullback that we actually have seen. The chances of price for coming down further to take this out and create this type of zone here is highly likely, in my opinion. So over the next while, over the next week, I'm going to be looking for price to want to continue on this overall move, the beginning of this downtrend, pull back, chop, and eventually it will break through here at least one time, right? We may see a little bit, we may see further, but I'm quite confident that we will at least see this break. Yeah, so that's what I have for you guys. This is what section 1 of our structure, supply and demand, and an interesting way to look at the market. I will be creating a section 2. I haven't quite figured out exactly what I'm going to do for it, but stay tuned. It'll probably be sometime next week. Take care. Thanks.